Hello and welcome back to the Pine League tournament. We're here in the finals with our top two teams being Astral Esports and Team Evolx. We're here for the best of five, and to cast it with me, I have Eris.
Good evening, everyone. So finally, we're down to our final two, the final two teams in this competition itself, Astro Esports and Teamworks. I'm glad to be here. I requested though. So, which of these two teams do you kind of favor taking the crown of this competition?
Oh, well, I would say both teams have rarely shown up in this tournament on their way to get here. And Astral being the number one seed, of course, they've also went into the top four standing with the most points, sitting at 6 points. But there's just 1 point above all the other teams that made it through to there. Which earlier today we did have the third place match, which was between KDA and Fearless. KDA ended up taking that in a 2-0 fashion, so they are going to go home with 10,000 ice, and now these teams are fighting for that number one spot, as well as the prize pool of 18,000 ice for first place and 14,000 for the second team. But also, more or less, too, I think there's a bit of rivalry going on here. We've got Heaty on Astral Esports and Gatorex on Team Evo X. So it's kind of going to be bragging rights, which team is better in the
Yeah.
supposed region. So yeah, a lot up for grabs here. But honestly, I wouldn't put it to either team to say that this team is strictly better than the other one. I've seen a lot of good tactics come out from both teams, especially in the semifinals. We had last. This is how bad my memory is. It could have been yesterday. It could have been last week.
All good.
Y- Yesterday, where Evo X they brought in some real good strats, which we had seen them kind of working on in the previous weeks. I'm not sure if you were able to cast one of the Evo X games, but we had where they go for this really heavy aggressive kind of engage and invade comp that really takes away from the enemy team. And the question here is going to be how Astral going to respond to that in terms of draft, in terms of their own rotations and tactics.
Yeah, I think I got to cut. I caught the match that Team Evolx was playing, and yeah, you're right. They're just so jungle focused, and that's gonna definitely help out whoever's gonna jungle this time around. I'm not sure if they have a fixed role or not, or if we're gonna see someone of the same that will be jungling. But nevertheless, I think stealing the opponent's jungle away is not only important that you get your own jungler farmed up and stick away the buff, but it's more importantly that you starve out the opponent jungle, and that's something that in 5v5 MOBA it's going to be really big, taking away economy from your team, for your opponent's team, for yourself, and not only that, it gets you on the fast track, and that's where the snowball happens. So if you have a lot of game management sense, and if your team is really comfortable with the invasive technique, then that's definitely going to be very beneficial to aggressive teams.
Yep. Well, since it's a best of five, we'll get right into it. But as we do, quickly rundown of the teams. Astral Esports, we have Chili, Hidi, AE, Gia, Deity Stars, Roly, Call Me Your Prince. And then for the side of Team Evo X, we have Gatorex, Sakin Sora, Optic Laser, Icy Bang, Nom Nom TNT, and Ray Z. So yeah, as you were mentioning about that starving the enemy jungle and those sort of tactics, I think Vainglory has a certain thing going for it in the current meta, which I don't know if they'll try and adapt and evolve to kind of lean away from this, where we see a lot of the teams will go for multiple Stormguard banners, where if you look at other MOBAs, it's not always you can't always get that jungle item or
Yeah.
item that's so strong to clear jungle, and that's what's really smart about this current meta. That if you put the investment of that 600 gold instead of, say, pick up 2 crystal bits or weapon blades, depending what path you take. If you invest in that Stormguard banner instead, is a lot more beneficial for your team, especially if you're playing this heavy invade comp. It is a lot easier to have multiple members with this burst of true damage that can really help secure those objectives, or just clear your own jungle quicker.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, that investment is just makes so much sense because you're just getting a lot more farm value out of it, and even if you do not, or rather, if you unsuccessfully managed to do it, it actually comes with a lot of impact towards the late game when you go for objective taking, like for example, your Black Claws and all that stuff. So nevertheless, I think we are already in the draft screen, so let's just jump right into it. We will see Evolx on the blue side and Ares on the red side. Or Astro. I'm so sorry. I got the teams wrong there.
Oh yeah. Well, for the side of Evolx, they've gone with that Magnus ban and that Yates ban, and I always find this interesting when a team on blue side decides to ban out Magnus because you have a lot more control of possibly leaving that open or forcing the enemy to ban out Magnus. It's more than likely if left through will be that the very last ban that goes through. But
Yep.
looks like they have their
Pretty much.
mindset on something
Yeah.
else for now. They've Astral Esports have responded to it with the Samfang and the Fortress ban. Fortress being a kind of key component to a lot of heavy engage comps, but they still managed to pick up the Lance for themselves, which is also really good because of the CC he provides.
Yeah, and it looks like Evox are gonna pick up the Samuel, which we saw a couple of games ago. Epic Laser is just one of oh, I'm not gonna say one of the best, but he's the only Samuel that I've seen throughout this tournament. And Samuel wise, we had this discussion about Samuel, Scarf, and Celeste, and which heroes or rather which mid laners are one of the strongest are coming out. But Various one of them up there. But Samuel, in my opinion, is just so good from the get go. Like at level 2, he has that drifting darkness. He has the sustainability. He doesn't really need a support in lane. The captain kit is just it's just free to roll around, and that's what we get out of Samuel. Like he's gonna be applying a lot of pressure on the Celeste, even before she hits a perk with that Genesis. So, with that being said, it looks like we have the lineup of Evox.
Yep, and it's very similar to what we kind of expected from Evolx, what we've seen before from Evolx, and the key point of that Samuel being the sustain in his comp. Now, you mentioned when you were going through listing the mid laners, you actually touched on Vaio, and I found this interesting because Samuel, Magnus, Scarf, Celeste, they kind of sit in with strict, I'd say, poke and burst mages, whereas Vaio is very much single target, but burst as well, and we saw how effective that was earlier in the third place match we had today. Abomination to actually close out the game 2-0, managed to get a pentakill for his team, and it just shows how strong Vaio can be if you don't have the CC to shut her down, if you allow her to get into the backline with that charged dash. But going into this game here, Evox, they've got themselves the Lorelei, Kestrel, Rhyme, Samuel, Grumpjaw. As we said, that's good CC over the board. Good poke damage as well. I like the Kestrel pickup to add some more burst damage coming through. I'm wondering if they could be lacking slightly on the side of CC. Maybe they would prefer to have a Lance pick on that team, but in that case, Astral did a good job in the draft to make sure they secured that for themselves, alongside pretty much everyone on that team has a form of hard CC, which is good to see for the side of Astral Esports.
Yeah, I agree with you right there. The Castro pickup is just it really makes sense because they're gonna be applying a lot of pressure with their lineup right here. They have the Rhyme and the Grumjaw and Lorelei as well. They can really protect the backline and provide some peel. So that really just gives the Castro a lot of space to go for objective taking, and they have the Samuel, which with that superior range, it's just gonna be hard for this side of Astro to really deal with that damage right there. So I'm interested to see how they adapt and make use of the Lutz, because if they do manage to keep the Rhyme away, or rather both the Rhyme and Grumjaw away from the backline, which is Gwen and your Celeste, or they could be going for some split push techniques. So they will have 4 members that try to stop the push, maybe have Gwen that's going to be doing some split pushing. I'm not too sure about that because Gwen does really well in terms of split pushing, but I still prefer if Gwen is in team fight because she has that Aces High, she has that poke damage that hurts a lot. So I'm not exactly sure whether or not they can deal with this comp, but here we see the engagement, or rather the invasion coming
Yep.
in from Evolx once again.
The classic Evolx invade. They managed to take away the red buff. They're looking for the gold oak as well. And it looks like they're going to get... Look at how quickly they burst that down with 3 members there. In fact, 4 members on that team overall having access to that Stormguard banner. And my advice before, and this is a best of 5 series, so I really hope Astral take this moving forwards, is that to counter it, they need to actually do the same, or at least position and be ready to respond to that kind of invade. You might have the vision there, but that's not enough if you don't take action on top of it. So you look over to the team of Astral Esports, and they've only got Call Me Your Prince, who I guess is playing Jungle Lance in this case with the Stormguard banner. But it's not such a problem in the first rotation. It becomes a problem when it's repeatedly done and they just start to build up this gold lead and more so taking away from what your team could have been earning.
Yeah, pretty much so. And like, you can kind of see the Gwen just keeping a distance away from the Grumjaw, which is pretty not weird, but pretty insane coming in with second Isora, applying a lot of pressure as well. And he has to have Call Me Prince coming up to top lane to provide some sort of support for Gwen. And this is one of the most important lane that we're going to look at, because if Chile doesn't manage to farm up, I'm sorry to say, but a Gwen without farm is a useless Gwen. And that's what we don't really want on Astral Esports. Like, they want a Gwen to come online as soon as possible. You can already see the pressure of Optic Blaze in the mid lane, definitely having the superior range over Celeste and Grumjaw early game. Not till he gets the Polite Company as well. Top lane, Grumjaw, pretty much an independent lane as well. So I really do like the lineup of Evolx. The fact that every single one of their members can be so dominant in their own rights in their separate lanes. But here, oops, we could see a Grumjaw going on the Chili right there. It just managed to back off.
Yeah, meanwhile, the rest of Evolx, as I said, once again, just going through the standard rotation for them. They've
Yep.
You know they've practiced this. You see how well they pull this off all the time, and they're just so consistent with it. And once again, Sakane Sora just comes in. They have that Stormguard banner, easy take. And looks like they might get punished for it as Rex getting caught out. Chill wins to help him escape there. Call Me Your Prince not able to land the Giffian wall. And they're going to get out free of charge. And in fact, just like the gold lead doesn't seem like too much, but you've also got to be thinking about as we move in towards the later to the mid game and such, that taking away these buffs is actually quite strong moving into team fight situations. Especially, I like to point out for the blue buff, for a mage, when you don't have that lifesteal, if you get jumped on, it can be a real big difference between surviving that engagement or not.
Yeah, pretty much. And you can see the top lane, like Chili's pushing out really quickly. That just allows Grumjaw, to stay under his turret as well. So that's just good wave management coming with Sakine Sora. Like most Vainglory players would assume that, clearing the lane as soon as possible. Oh, well, lane engagement right here. Oh, Call Me Prince misses the storm as well. Jia not being able to engage or rather start up Icy Bang, and he will get out there. That's a wasted kill. They should have just gotten the Castro.
Yeah, not able to find it, and that's another lane which, if we're talking about matchups, Icy Bang has actually been pressuring this lane quite well and winning it out, and it's kind of tough for Call Me Your Prince. He has to be everywhere at the moment and try and like be top and be bot. It's good to see that he's managed to make his way to both sides and not neglect one over the other, but if I see... maybe I think Icy Bang might have a better time laning up against Vistiel with those Glimmer shots. And then when they get to the tower, they have so much burst potential, so much siege potential to take down objectives quickly. And that's kind of partly a call into why Kestrel doesn't need a Stormguard banner herself, but most of the time Evolx haven't given the bot lane a banner. They just go for the 4 banners and just let the weapon power carry just start building right into that build. Also, because when you look at the rotation, they're mainly focusing this top side of the jungle where you find the red buff and, more importantly, the gold oak. So I think it's a level of that, as well as the rotation is just a lot smoother for them, and this is definitely what works out. It's been proven, and looks like they're going to get spotted out. A nice piece of vision there. Good scout cam placed by Astral Esports right on the edge of that red, where they can see those rotations coming through.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, Jaja's just having a really bad time in lane right now. Look at CS in terms of the difference he has. Oh, Jaja goes for the bait. He could be able to get the kill right here. I see Bang tries to back right off, and the Celeste comes right in. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, that
very
ultimate.
nice.
Oof, that's gonna hurt a lot.
Yep, good job by Deity Stars to make the rotation down to really help support that. Meanwhile, in top, a bit of a skirmish, but nothing really too much going on. Looks like Prince should spot out Optic Laser, know that he's coming up, and just tell his team that, you know, we can back out here, let the wave push back in our favor. So far, not too much action, actually, going on in between the two teams. But to say the least, that it hasn't been affecting them too much so far. The invades coming out from Evolx. Astral Esports still managing to actually sit above in gold. So wondering where this gold disparity might be coming from, as we now see Prince and Chili making their way, getting some decent damage onto that top tower, because neither tower's been taken. The only thing would be First Blood, but I don't think that's too much of a difference. So maybe looking close at farm, Astral Esports might be doing a slightly better job. And you can see in the mid lane there, Deity Star's actually doing a lot better than Optic Laser right now, 66 over to 49. So a decent, substantial difference there.
Yeah,
Ooh.
and not only that, did you manage to pick up the bottom tower as well? But oh, we got a Rhyme that's diving in too deep, goes in with the buff as well, and Samuel just comes right in. They do manage to pick up the Celeste. Rhyme falls. It's a 1-for-1. Grubja uses his ultimate. Will have to back off. He's carrying. I do believe it was Celeste in his mouth. One shot, one kill connects as well. Oh my gosh, Graham took the most of the damage. They pick up the Fiend as well. It's all down to Lance, who just managed to pick up the Lorelei. But will he be able to make it out of there? Oh, Optic Laser has to land that shots right here. Activates the Drifting Darkness, but he doesn't have his ultimate, which was used already in that team fight. So
Ooh,
overall,
here comes Gia
pretty even right
Gia.
here.
Could really trade back a kill again. Solar Storm on
Oh,
through, but it's not going to connect. However, during that fight, that one shot, one kill coming out from Kestrel. Ooh, Call Me Your Prince is not done yet, but he didn't see the Grumpjaw in the bush. Instead, rolls into his own death. Not the best decision made there. However, yeah, that one shot, one kill that came out from Icy Bang really helped them secure the kills. Kind of
yeah.
gave them that confidence to shut out the fight more so in their favor. I think the kills, I think it could have been like 3 kills in favor of Evolx over to 2 kills for Astral, or maybe even just 1. Actually,
No,
yeah,
it
it's
was
quite
2
a
of 2
messy
yeah, okay.
fight. So we'll see here
Yeah, pretty
as
much.
mid lane game pushed in. Meanwhile, jungle invade, Gatorex there. Think he was able to steal away the red once again. So
Oh,
should
he
be
tried to
happy
go
with
on
that.
Chili. Both sides just activated the boots as well, so that's a second cooldown for both sides. But nevertheless, once again, we see Icy Bag just being left all alone in the bot lane to do some farming. But one thing that you really point out, which I want to reiterate, is that or rather, Astro Esports just doing so well in terms of farming. Like they are having so much more farm compared to Evolx in terms of individual lanes. There's Celeste having 84 farm over Samuel at 62. Oops, we could see Jaja coming up to mid lane for some rotation.
Yep. Meanwhile, the rest of Evolx might make their way down to bot to kind of counter-react that. There's Garex just diving in, goes for the chill wins, almost gets punished with the core collapse, but it just misses. Chili managing to take down that top tower, and they catch up with Grumpjaw. There's going to be the Giffian wall, but he manages to leap on over towards his heel. Garex not far away either. So Sakane Sora safe for now. Prince protecting Chili, making sure they don't get caught out. But in Chili's case, I think both teams have really strong bot laners in this game. You've got the Gwen, who is quite strong on her own. You mentioned her split push potential, but also with her skedaddle just being able to get away from CC. And she has the hard CC in her kit. Overall, just a very well-balanced hero in terms of design. But then you've got Kestrel, and we talked about how easy it is for them to siege. They were actually the first one to take the tower in this game while a fight was happening earlier on. And Kestrel, you mentioned Icy Bang being left alone in the spot lane, but it doesn't seem to phase them much for the most part. They're doing pretty well for themselves, and they've got that Book of Eulogies if they need any kind of healing. Prince going to catch out Bang, or could be the other way around as Garex comes on in block to try stop that, and now we see Rolly making his way down the river. Evolx probably going to have to back out of this one, but respectively, Astral Esports doing the same. Deity almost caught up there as Sakane Sora goes for the dive in. And this is what I love about Evolx, that we see that commitment to objectives, how quickly they decide that this is what we're doing. They go for it. The Solar Storm's not going to stop them. Oblivion goes down, stuns out the Rhyme, and they're right in the middle of the big red button. And right now there's a lot of range damage going down as Lance, stuffed into the enemy backlines, is going to get taken down. Evolx backing out with a sliver of health, but Heliogenesis is slamming down onto that. Lorelei is going to stop that. All the meanwhile, where's Chili? Pushing the top lane, split pushing. You talked about how effective they can be in a team fight, but just as effective at gaining advantage and getting those objectives.
Yeah, the only surprising part for me was how well Astral Esports was just doing in team fights there. They ripped Evolx apart. At the same time, that just bought a lot of time for team to push top lane.
Gia's probably better off going for the tower at that point because it's unlikely that you're going to escape, but they dodge out for one shot, one kill. They're running away from Garex. Here comes Prince in time. He manages to land the Giffian wall, and Gia gets out of there alive. They're not going to get the towers. It's left on a sliver of health, however. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, that's going to be a tower, a tier 1 for the side of Evolx. So you're right about that. Astral Esports in the previous fight, by the way, did a tremendous job at actually fighting them off. Almost got the steal on the Ghost Wing. And they managed to fight Evolx while they have this Ghost Wing buff, which is just about to run out. But Evolx, you gotta give them credit for how quickly they made that decision to go for it. As we see now another fight possibly breaking out around this Crystal Tree. And Sakane Sora getting caught up in the core collapse, going low. More wound inflicting, and there's going to be the Solar Storm to secure. But Evolx aren't done yet. They're still poking and prodding over the wall, getting the damage down. Dead Star's going to be the one to pick up. Oh my, Gia just going to have to back there. Almost taken down. And we see that Dead Star's getting caught out in the mid, but no follow-up, so not in too much danger right now. However, Rhyme sneaking his way up to the mid lane. Dead Stars might have to run in a second. But no, Garex not looking to play aggressive right now. Both teams 5 for 5. So even in this first matchup, even in terms of gold, actually slightly in favor of Astral, which we talked about before is probably accredited to them, their farming. And I'm sure Rolly has spotted some effects over the walls, can tell that Evolx making their mark on this Black Claw. And is there going to be a still big red burn over the wall, but it's not going to be enough. And Black Claw goes over to Evolx. This is a team that is not afraid to start an objective. They're a team that will not waste time when the opportunity is given, and they find these opportunities in the smallest of like moments there, where they just happen to walk by, happen to be in a good position, probably because they're like, okay, let's be around this area. But now they're making their way onto the tier 2 tower. Oblivion onto the backline. Block runs out just before it, but no follow-up on that. Fountain was used for Astral. And the question is, are they going to try and chase down the fleeing Evolx team, who are now making their way to Ghostwing?
Right, 16 seconds without the Fountain, that's going to be really big for Evolx. They definitely can take the Ghost Wing as well. Oh, that's coming right in. Go for the speed as well, but it's too late, and he gets rooted right on the spot. Oh, look at how low Evolx members are. They might just lose lands right here, but it doesn't matter. They pick up a double kill on both the Grumjaw, and they might be able to pick up the Castro as well. Suddenly, it's a 4v2. Oh, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt. For a moment, I thought Evolx could definitely be taking that fight right there. They had the Ghost Wing buff, but somehow Astral Esports are just finding all these team fights.
Yeah, once again, I think it really comes down to Astral Esports, the comp that put together here. We mentioned that every member, although Evolx has individually strong heroes, and their team comp idea is they're missing some key CC, which instead is in the hands of Astral Esports. We saw how they shut down the Grumpjaw that's about to actually take out Prince. Prince did fall in the end, but then they were able to single out Icy Bang, who is stuck in the Ghostwing pit, and clean up the rest from there. So Astral Esports coming in big, even though they're losing, they're not able to collect on these dragon objectives, they're able to win out these team fights, and I think that's really what matters moving into this late game, the fact that they're able to beat Evolx even when they had the Ghostwing buff. And now they have the confidence to go into the enemy jungle here, as we see, almost stealing away that Crystal Treant. So the tables have been turned as they push their way down mid lane into this tier 2 tower.
yeah, the mid lane is just they're just so strong. Like or rather Astral Esports, they're just stronger when they are in a figure of five. Look at the way they're rotating. They're rotating really like a team. They can't really afford to split up. Good thing you point out is that they have a lot of CC as well. So to make up for that, Rolly actually most of the time doesn't really engage with the hook, which is rare because most teams will actually count on the Fiend's hook to really start engaging. The initiation is just massive as well. But this time around, if you look at the way Astro Esports really like to take their fights or how they go about it, is that they have Call Me Prince on this lance that goes right into the middle of Evolx, and that just kills a lot for the rest of the team. And not only that, he buys out a lot of the skills from Evolx. So this actually just puts a lot of skills from Evolx team
Oh.
on cooldown. Oh, rotation right here.
Yeah, I was just worried for Gias. They don't have vision. What Evox are doing right now that's really good is they have quite a lot of vision control. Although you can see some deep vision from the side of Astral Esports in Evox's jungle, Evox have some good rotation kind of areas. They have the Black Claw marked down already, so they know that's coming up. They're in position to see the Ghost Wing as well as the enemy Blue is coming up. So Evox have a lot of that river control right now. But the question is, can they do anything with it as we see Astral moving towards their crystal? They're going to confirm that probably pretty quickly now as we move towards the mid to late game. But within seconds, there's going to be the decision from Evo X to go for this Black Claw, my bad. But we see Astral
Exactly.
responding to it, and this is really good. What I like to see from teams that they actually respond to the takes that the enemies are doing. Because if you don't try in the first place, then you failed already. And we're going to see here a little bit of a skirmish, but overall Crystal Treant will be going over to Astral Esports as they steal that one away. Solar Storm just going out, just kind of to scare them away, I guess.
Yeah,
Evo X still have vision, a lot of vision around this Black Claw, so I don't think it's a good idea for Astral to take it either, but maybe to instead look for a possible fight.
but look at how aggressive Astro Esports just placed the ward right there, or rather the Spectre Camp, putting it in the blue buff, and that just gives them vision as they're about to take on to the Black Claw. But like you said, they have to get pushed right back. They are missing a lot of skills as
Oh
well.
my
Oh,
lord,
look at the
Chili!
damage!
Oh,
Oh,
there's going to be the quibble onto Grumpjaw. They try and protect him with the wall, but will it be enough as we see Rhyme getting taken down as he jumps into the front line? Grumpjaw tries to get stuff, manages to get over the wall, but then there's going to be the follow-through from Lance to try push him away, at least secure the kill onto Grumpjaw, and the rest of the team following on through a 4v3 right now, except a lot of the members on Astral Esports fairly low. They need to be careful of the poke damage coming out from that Empowered Malice and Verdicts, as well as the Glimmer shots from the Kestrel. Call Me Your Prince playing a dangerous game in this mid, as he's now going to get slowed down. There's Frostburn on that Samuel that you have to be cautious about. He didn't respect it, and he's going to get out of there alive.
he
One shot, one
survived.
kill, not going to connect. Oh my lord, the luck on Prince in this game right now.
Oh, I thought that one shot one kill was still the deal, but he was on boots as well, so that wasn't the easiest one shot one kill you could have called for. But yeah, you're right. He's just really lucky right there. Important thing to note though, like Evo X actually landed a 5-minute of Believer, but even without, or rather, even with the Samus ulti, they didn't really win the team fight. So I'm starting to question the picks right here. What is Evo X really lacking in terms of team fight? Because they have the CC, right? They have the Samus stun, they have the Rhyme as well. And even with landing those skills, they can't seem to find enough damage to take down the front line of Astro Esports fast enough.
Yeah, I would say that it's actually quite difficult for them. You see a lot of the time when either Rhyme or Grumpjaw just go into the front line, there's not enough. It could be a lack of full commitment from the rest of the team to be in the positions they need to land the damage. We'll see. Hey, Evil X once again, making a quick commitment, this time going for the Ghost Wing. Solar Storm comes on through. It's going to spot them out, but they're still going to be able to collect for themselves this time. Astral Esports not close enough to contest that one. But as you said, the question posed there was what's really missing from Evo X? It's kind of a way they move into the enemy team comp where Rhyme and Grumpjaw go in alone and just get bursted down. There's between the damage coming out from The Jewel, the Celeste, and the Gwen especially, as we see now, forced accord onto the Grumpjaw, and he's already so very low, forced back to his base. They're not going to be able to push any further, but instead they now have an opportunity to possibly start up this Black Claw, and that's a prime example of what happens if Grumpjaw didn't intend to go in, but let's imagine he did. You can see how quickly they managed to burst him down. Now just making sure they have vision control here. And once again, they're stuck in a situation where it's like, okay, we probably have to go for a team fight, have to secure at least a kill in our favor, and then we could look to take the Black Claw. Even more so, they might want to wait out another 15 to 20 seconds to let that Ghost Wing buff go away.
Yeah, Solo Storm just
but Evolx know that. They know that they're gonna take advantage of that Ghost Wing buff that they do have for just a few seconds more. They know if we do it now, then if they try and fight us, we have some protection, but things are taking a bit longer than planned as they're not fully committing to this Ghost Wing. Oblivion's going to land, but Finn doesn't care. Quibble onto the Grumpjaw, just deletes him instantly. Big red button through the enemy team is going to force Evolx back. And meanwhile, Samuel kiting back, putting some damage down range. And it's going to be Astral to secure that Black Claw. Solar Storm comes on through, big damage, and Gwen to secure that one. And now they're chasing down Icy Bang, who's going to land the stun onto the Lance. They're so very low at this point, but they managed to secure it out with numbers. And that is almost the ace. Optic Laser being the last one standing for his team, and he's not going to be able to hold this tower. Instead, he has to back and hope that his team is up in time to save the Vein Crystal, because right now, Astral Esports pushing in, the TP coming through, and he gets caught out. There's going to be the jump in, and it picks up the kill. It's more than enough. Rolly looking low, so is Gia, but they're going to look to finish the game as they move on to the Crystal. Black Claw still healthy. Big red button secures it out. That's going to be game number 1 between Astral Esports and Evolx. Astral taking that 15 to 17 to 7. 23 minutes in, and look at the gold lead that ended up in favor of Astral. They didn't let the early invading phase them, and they actually showed that you can overcome this tactic if you have good enough farm.
Yeah, pretty much they were winning in the lanes in terms of their farm as well. Like, the only lane they were really losing out was the Castro and the I do believe it was Ju lineup. So that was the only duo they were losing out. At the top lane, the Gwen was just having so much fun up against a Grumpjaw, which is pretty rare. Like, she took a lot of damage as well, but in general, she was just doing a lot better in terms of farming. And when the mid game just kicked in, they really made use of the Ju spike as well. They called out Icy Bang a couple of times. They managed to steal a couple of objectives as well. And despite Astro, or rather, despite Evolx picking out the buff from the Ghost Wing, they were not able to win those massive team fights, and they just gave so much goal over to the side of Astral Esports. So GG to both sides, but it is Astral Esports that is one game up.
I think most of all, it came down to the draft. The fact that the team comp on the side of Evolx, while being a good team comp and technically having a few of the key elements they needed, they were missing hard CC, or more CC that was able to follow up with Rhyme and Grumpjaw with slowing down, so catching out single targets early on. They didn't really get into that phase, which we have seen them do before, where they managed to not only invade the jungles, but then be everywhere on the map, pressuring the lanes where they need to. We didn't really see that, and I think that comes down to Lorelei is a good hero on her own, but Lance provides a lot more mobility and a better engagement a lot of the time when he's able to follow through with an Impale and then maybe a Giphian Wall and mix things up there.
Yeah, like in general, like you mentioned, Lorelei is actually quite a good hero, but in terms of team fight wise, I think Lance just does so much more. The way that he can displace the positioning of the opponent team as well as catching out the carries, and he does provide a lot of damage with that role as well. So in all, I think the Lance was just a really good pick, and you have to give credit to the way that Astral Esports actually played that one out. They had the Lance running from top to bottom lane throughout the entire game, so that was just one busy Lance that was trying his best to ensure that every single lane was covered well enough, and at the same time he had to make sure that the Samuel wasn't really bullying the Celeste from level 2. So Yeah, it is Lance. Like Lance is definitely my MVP for that game.
Yep. And oh my god, the luck on Prince in that previous game. But not only that, you gotta give him you gotta give him the credit he deserves. The rotations to be top supporting and supporting the bot lane when he needed to be, and the save on Jewel. There are a lot of close calls for the side of Astral Esports. But also a lot of really nice team fights that we mentioned, especially around the Ghost Wing before the two teams were kind of stuck in the standoff phase. We saw a lot of the time where Astral Esports just able to win it out. Um, I would like to look back personally at those fights and really break it down, but I think it comes down to good positioning, good CC chaining overall. So good focusing and synergy from the side of Astral. Now, Evolx, that is something they're generally good with, and it's something that was lacking in what I considered to be attributed to possibly their draft. That maybe they weren't as comfortable without that Lance pick being on that team. But now they're going to be on the red side, so they get those second two picks that come on through, and that really allows you to start forming your team comp a bit more. Whereas last game, who was it that do you remember who they picked first? The side of
If
Evil
I'm
X
not
as
wrong,
they
it was
were
the
on the
Grumjaw.
left
So
side.
Grumjaw was kind of like the
Grumpjaw.
first pick.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Which
that's pretty weird.
Grumpjaw is a good
I thought they were.
Yeah, Grumpjaw's a good pick, but I don't think he's also like super key um to a team
Yeah,
comp either.
the only thing that surprised me about the Gumdrop pick that it was a first pick, so you kind of give the opponent the kind of idea that you want to play around, and they can actually go for a draft that really counters the Gumjaw, pick up a lot more range heroes, which they actually did even for Jill, despite her being a melee hero, she kind of has the what was the name of the skill again?
Which
Uh,
one?
she has the big red button that
Yep.
can really engage from far as well. So that's the kind of range that she brings to the table. And yeah, in general, just picking up a lot of more range heroes that can do damage from afar kind of negates the fact that Grumjaw has to be all in the opponent's face. So uh,
Yep.
picking up that's the first pick isn't exactly the worst idea, but you kind of give the opponents the heads up that you know what, we're gonna be up in the face. We could pick up a rhyme as well. So yeah, that's kind of the idea of drafting.
Yeah, earlier I was talking with Slice about what teams should do against these kind of engage comps to kind of build together anti dive comp, which we looked into support specifically because I think that's a big key into whether your carries stay alive or not. That you have on the base of it, you have Lyra who has the bright bulwark, which technically will keep them away from range, but then you have more, I guess, what's the word? I really can't think of it, but we'll just say suitable for now, or more stable supports with like Finn, who has the AoE quibble, but that's not until late game when you get level 8 and you can overdrive it. But when you have that, and that tends to be when more of the team fights happen anyway, so it's all right. He has that to lock down anyone who dives in because that area is fairly big, so it's fairly easy to land a lot of the time, especially on heroes like say if a Fortress or Lance or Grumpjaw dives in, there's that small window of opportunity that after they've dived in, they're actually vulnerable for a bit. So it's easy to land that. Not only you have the polite company to help keep your team nice and shielded, armored up, provide a bit more defense to them. Overall, a really good pick. We even saw in that situation where Finn was able to play aggressive and pull one of the members in, pull the Grumpjoy in, and then the team just instantly all engaged on it. And this is what I talked about when I said that Astral Esports have very good targeting and very good synergy in terms of who they're going to focus. So it really puts together all that damage that they had on their team, that you talked about, the range damage they had, but also just the high burst damage they had available to them. Optional to Finn, I would say Grace is probably the next best anti-engage or anti-dive support because she has the Holy Nova to knock people up that jump in.
Yeah, pretty much. Like you mentioned, the Grazers really well as well. And not only that, she's kind of like a hyper support or a hyper captain for one of the carries, with divine intervention that can really keep the carries. Or rather, you have the peace of mind that is kind of like having a second life in the middle of a team fight, if I put it that way. Not exactly. Uh, or should I say she's like one of the most mobile heroes as well. Uh, she doesn't really have a skill that can really do a lot from long range other than her first skill as well. But all in all, I agree with you. Like Grace is one of the viable picks in this matter as well. So I'm hoping to see her pop up in second game or maybe along the way.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how this draft goes this time because whether Evolx stick to their standard invade comp, which we know is quite strong for them if they can get things going, if they're able to do that three-man rotation, not only into the enemy jungle, but then to go further and start invading, ganking the lanes with that. Whether they still feel confident in that, or if they will take a step back and go to something more meta in terms.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I, I, I think meta doesn't really describe how teams should pick their heroes. Like, yeah, the meta is good, but look at the way that Evox is playing. They're really comfortable in the rotations. Yeah, given that they lost the first game as well to Astral Esports, but you have to give credit to Evox. They're really comfortable in rotation. They're really, you know, they're like one mind. The chemistry is there. They know that this is the rotation that we're going to make. We're going to steal the opponent's jungle, then we rotate back to our go orc as well. So that's kind of the familiarity with how they're going to go about doing their stuff. At the same time, the meta is just a rough guide for how teams want to pick up heroes that are generally better than the others in this current meta. But it's not exactly a hard and fast rule that you have to go this hero, you have to go this rotation, you have to pick up a certain hero in order to win the game. Given there are certain heroes that are quite OP in this current meta, like Magnus as well in the mid lane. But other than that, it's just a rough guide. You don't really have to follow the meta in order to have a winning start.
Yep. I'm just wondering here, for the sake of Evolx, I mean, it's what we've seen them play most of the time, and so, and I'm sure they are confident in other uh, picks, but whether they think that, okay, that's just maybe a draft issue, that if we get a bad draft that still goes towards this engage strat, if they're still going to go through with that, because that is, as you say, it isn't technically the meta, because I don't see a lot of teams actually taking advantage of this full like Stormguard build team comp where you go Stormguard and then you go Tier 3 boots. The place where I did see that, however, being the meta was definitely in EA high tier play.
Right, it's interesting when you watch other regions play because you kind of get a rough idea, or rather a different kind of idea as to what's happening outside your region, as compared to just playing with the same people over and over again in terms of snipe and stuff. So yeah, it is a fresh uh, input, if you put it that way. When you watch other regions play, different ideas getting played out, certain heroes which you thought are not viable in this current meta, and you watch someone play it and you go, oh, it kind of works that way. So let's just try it in our games. But it looks like the draft is good to go. And once again, that Fortress ban getting banned out.
Yep, Astral do not want to have to deal with the Fortress engage. They've even gone and banned out the Grumpjaw, and it leaves the Lance open. I like, dodge once
Oops.
again. Maybe Evolx are just like, nope, you can't take our Lance. Because I actually like that by Astral Esports, by taking the Lance away from Evolx. It kind of puts a bit of a bit of a cog or whatever. It messes up that whole system.
Yeah, pretty
So
much.
yeah,
Yeah,
I would
I do agree.
say that Lance is actually still overall, whether you're going up against Evolx or any other team, Lance is still a very viable first pick anyway.
Yeah, he pretty much is as compared to pick out a drum draw first pick. Like I'm still wondering what uh Evo X was trying to do with that drum draw first pick. I know he's a strong hero, but like you mentioned, he's not really one of those priority picks. That's a lot more rather lenience out there that you can definitely go for. Maybe it's the rotation because Gumjaw does really well with rotation as well. He clears creeps at a decent pace, and he has that element of tankiness with that armor to really deal with the defense coming up from the side of Astro Esports. So I'm not exactly sure whether or not that's the reason why they chose to go for the ground draw first. But I'm definitely hoping to see not better drafting, but maybe something a little bit more different in the second game.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I wondered, we got to that last pick. Did you catch the bans that Evolx were throwing out on the right side?
I believe it was Yates and another hero. I'm
Was
not
it was
exactly
it
sure. I
Magnus?
saw Yates. Yeah, I
'Cause
saw. I think it was Magnus as well.
yeah,
It could be a Magnus. Yeah.
that would
So
be a situation that obviously they can't do it now, but maybe going into future games where you would leave them in a situation where if Astral are first pick side, you're like, okay, well maybe you have to either take Magnus, which could be risky, and give us Valance. But then you could do something like take Lance and Yates, although we've seen Yates being banned most of these games. So I think that's unlikely. Um, However, yeah, it's kind of a risk to play on that side, but that's why A side tends to have a lot more control over the way bans go to a certain extent. Of course, if you go, okay, we're not actually going to ban out any OP picks, or we're only going to ban out like one OP pick and then some random, and then it leaves multiple OP picks to go through, it means that you're going to get something, but you have to still give something over to the enemy team in most cases.
yeah,
Because
you can't have you can't have the both of best of both worlds. That's kind of how drafting kind of goes. Or they can both choose to give all the OP heroes. Imagine Magnus. You can have Fortress as well. Alan's getting picked up in the game. And that's going to be one insane game. We're going to see.
yeah, I see in chat, let's go Kensei. Ooh, that'd be
Mm.
interesting if we see some Kensei coming through. Kensei is not a bad hero at all right now. In fact, he's a bit of a pocket pick when he comes out, because he can really burst down a lot of tankier targets because of his perk.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm one of the heroes
Oh,
which
but
I hope.
that
Oh,
is who I was gonna say.
ooh,
In that case, I'm
ooh.
not sure if they can do that. Did they lock in Valance previously?
I'm not exactly. I think I saw the Lance getting picked up as well. I'm not sure
Well,
if you're allowed
that
to swap
it
sides, but
possibly could be their loss, because now Evolx getting a hold of Lance and Celeste, in trade for Sam Feng. Sam Feng is strong, but we'll have to see if it's strong enough. I really don't know if Astro actually. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, it's Garex and Heaty's tournament, so I'll leave it up to them to say what goes through. But there's going to be the next pickup for Astro. It's going to be
yeah,
that
yeah.
Dagio.
Yeah, I was about to mention Dajo is actually one of my favorite heroes. I kind of made him when Victory just came out as well, and is just such a viable hero right now. Not only that, couple up with the Sanfeng as well, it's going to be a really good combo. Sanfeng just standing in a bit of team fights. You have the Dajo that can heal him up with the Gift of Fire as well, and then the wombo combo coming out for both sides is just going to be big. So you can kind of see
Oh,
where
I
Astro
could
Esports are going
picture
for.
I could picture the
Yeah,
Samfang jumping into the front line, Adagio getting the arcane fire off because the Samfang is in the middle, and then using the Verse of Judgment while Samfang uses his ultimate. If that doesn't get blocked out, you are dead. Like,
yeah, they pretty much should get a team wipe right
yeah.
there. They
So
should get a team wipe right there.
what I would like to see here, in fact, is some more big CC that needs to be blocked out. Possibly even pick up a Arden for that team. It means that Samfeng might have to play top in this case, because they already have a Reza who's going to be jungle. But we'll see what they decide on here. Arden would be really good because really Lyra. Maybe they're listening. They're
They could
hovering the
be, they
Arden
could
and they
be,
go
yeah.
for the pick. And the reason I think this is so good, we had a similar situation earlier today, but the Arden forces teams to use the Crucible if they want to pass through that gauntlet, and then that leaves them open and vulnerable to other AoE CC, such as
Oh,
the Verse of
I'm,
Judgment and such as the Samfang ultimate.
oh, I'm just getting so worried for Evo X right now. Like, look at the wombo combos that can be put up from Astro Esports. And you mentioned something about the Gauntlet being one of those Crucible burns as well. I almost say crucified, but well, pretty much hell. It could be crucified as well with the Adagio in that pick. So oh my god, there's just so many elements that Astral Esports can kind of combine. Uh, I'm not sure if Evolx have enough support on the side. Hmm. We'll have to
Well,
see,
I
but
wouldn't worry
yeah,
for
yeah,
Evolx too much. This looks like a team comp that they're very comfortable with. You've got to think about they have some very strong picks alongside there as well. They've got the Grace, which will be good for kind of counteracting, say, Sam Feng when he dives in, because instead of him getting the fortified health, I believe he'll just get stunned up instead, as well as Reza you might be able to pick off in that situation. You also have the Lance and Rhyme together, which we talked about being kind of what Evolx were looking for and what they might be missing in the previous game. But this time they also have the Gwen and the Celeste, which we saw both of them putting out so much damage in the previous game when in the hands of Astral Esports. So let's hope that Evolx can do the same. Let's hope that they're able to farm up well, and best of luck to both teams as we move into game number 2. So let us know in chat which team you guys think is going to win this one. Astral Esports already taking the first match, but new game, new draft, and hopefully new spirits moving in as we go for game number 2.
right.
Eris, who do you think, based on draft, who do you think is going to win?
Is that a legit question, or you just baiting me to say Astro Esports? Like,
Well, I mean,
oh my god,
you
like the
said
draft.
Astral before,
Oh,
because
yeah,
where we were talking about, we were like throwing around all these ideas of the setups that they can do, but that is on paper, that's theoretical, and that's if they allowed the
yeah,
opportunity to do
yeah.
so.
Like, okay, so if you were asking me before the other pick, if they had went for the Lyra, then I kind of prefer how Evo X have the lineups, because Lyra isn't the tankiest of captains as well. She can't really stay into team fights. She has to support teammates from afar. However, with the other pickup, you really have a very stable captain, that kind of like how you mentioned it as well. And more importantly, he has the gauntlet. So, like you said, they're gonna have so much CC to block out on the side of Evo X. They have Samfeng's ultimate, they have Adagio's Burst of Judgment, and they have the Gauntlet as well to kind of block out from in the middle of team fight. So I'm not exactly sure whether or not Evo X have enough. I wouldn't say positioning sense, but kind of have the foresight to kind of position themselves well in the middle of team fights to kind of avoid that from happening. But, oh, first blood coming up really, really quick from the top lane. Something just bullying that Gwen in the earlier stages of this game.
Yep, and it's kind of I didn't catch what happened there. I'm not sure if you saw how it went down, but Sam Feng, you've got to be careful of, because if you attack him whenever he's using one of those abilities, you're in for a bad time. And look at this captain wave that he's managed to push on in, although Gwen managing to get back to lane fairly quickly. It's gonna still do a decent amount of damage in the early game towards that tower. Meanwhile, over in the bot lane, Nom Nom not quite able to catch out Prince as he dives on in, and you can already see how Chili is able to bully out this Grace with those with the Arcane Fire. And they're going to go in for the engage Impale onto Chili. Sakane Sora might try follow that up, Giphian Wall, but Chili just standing his ground for the most part. They get caught up in the Holy Nova, but look at the return damage coming on through. And Sakane Sora manages to find the safety of that tower, but Astral Esports going to continue pushing this in.
Yeah, and not only that, like Ares, Astro, I don't know why I keep saying Ares, but Astro Esports over there in the mid lane with the Scarf. So you can kind of see like they really like going for really strong mid laners as well. I mean, Scarf, it's in the Scarfs, Samuel or who do you put it, Celeste, in my opinion. Picking up the Scarf is really good. You can apply a lot of pressure in the early stages of the game. You can see Nom Nom TNT already heading down to the mid lane. But more importantly, like you mentioned, Evo X over here going with the jungle invade. Getawx just picking up that weapon buff once again. Ooh, optic laser, mid lane.
Yeah, we see Rolly slightly getting caught out as he dives into the front line, but going back to what you mentioned about Deity Stars on this Scarf and why Scarf is such a good pick, as Garex runs out of the bush, gets the chill winds onto the Arden, and this is what we used to seeing with Evo X, that kind of combo there, the route into the Impale. And now Prince tried to get something in return, but just for now, pushing the enemy off, forcing them back. Oh, meanwhile, I see Bang. I'm just looking at how low his health is up here. He's having to hug his tower while his wave is pushed up so far. It's quite a difficult situation. So for the side of Astral Esports, they're actually pretty well off. We mentioned overall they have just a really good draft to start things with, but they have a very balanced team comp as well. And when we kind of throw around ideas of what might happen with these team fights, you could see that also adding Scarf into the mix. When he gets that ultimate, when he has Dragon's Breath, he's going to be able to really collect on when the enemy team gets AoE CC'd or is maybe trapped by a Gauntlet. And just there's going to be a lot of damage coming out behind that. So we see he gets caught on the core collapse, and there's going to be Giphian wall, but Prince coming up to the lane. I think they spot him out, makes the early call to back out there. But yeah, the Scarf is just a great addition to the team comp as well. But fairly low on energy, fairly low on health. Garex diving in, and once again, Rolly going to be the target. He manages, I think he managed to block out that core collapse that would have otherwise killed him. And Evolx just going to look to steal away some of the jungle for now.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because Corby Prince goes right in on TNT down to half health as well. Gataract over here, they really want the buff, but it's taken away by the Reza. Oh, look at the ultimate going in. They take out the Arden, but at what cost? Gataract really, really low. Or rather, Gataract already out of the picture right there. And TNT will have to back off. Look at that. The damage coming out of the Reza is just insane early game. So if you look at the draft, on the side of Astral Esports, it's just really balanced. You have the Reza that has so much burst on the early side of the game, and in the late game, you have the Scarf, the Adagio, and the other which scales really well as well. I saw in the chat that a lot of a couple of people saying that Evo X has a better draft. I do not deny that Astral Esports or the Evo X has a good draft. It's just that on the side of Astral, they just have better team fight or the team comp.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the worrying part I see for Evo X.
Yeah, I think that Evo X have some good CC, some good heroes, overall really strong picks in themselves. But the way that these team fights or these small skirmishes have been going so far does seem to be somewhat in favor of Astral. But we say that it is 2-2 at the moment. It really could go either way. However, you mentioned that Reza pick being another key component for the side of Astral. And when you've got to worry about him in the front line, it's kind of hard to look back and worry about Deity Stars, who is going to get taken out by that Solar Storm. But in team fight situations, you could imagine that opens up some opportunity for Scarf to have their positioning. However, it's going to be up to Evo X to find their way through that, kind of ignore those targets, and just go for the single engages, taking them out here, like they get the shutdown onto Adagio. Actually, that might have been shut down onto the Celeste, who was actually free 0 before. So Reza trying out kill. And you can see they just ignore Gia, which I thought was kind of funny. He manages to take the farm away, but that's the best thing you can do when there's a something around. Just kind of ignore him, try not to hit him, and then his abilities won't be as effective.
Yeah, definitely. Like Evo X have the damage potential as well. They have Gwen, they have the Celeste. It's just how they're gonna deal with Astral Esports. The Team CC coming out from the side of Astral Esports, and if they can actually deal with it, like if they can get into good positions, they have TNT as well. They can really help with that Arden CC. Like if imagine Arden's jumping mid air, trying to land the gauntlet, and you have a lance which just says no, pushes into the wall, then you kind of have a very good team fight for Evo X because they don't have the gauntlet to deal with. They can really position themselves with the range they have on Celeste and Gwen as well. So I'm not too afraid for them. I'm just wondering if they can deal with the CC. That's kind of like the main thing that I'm pointing out.
Yeah, if Evo X can up Prince going fairly low, Garex going to dive on in, but before fight, health coming out from GOG, gets my ultimate off the stun, there's going to be the Never Form down here to turn it around, and Prince just so on point with these ultimates. You saw it previously where he was on a sliver of health and he managed to turn it around when they were near that Crystal Tree. This could be risky, but there's going to be the Gauntlet, and they catch them out. There's going to be the Blood for Blood to pick up the kill. Rolly taking that one solo pretty much, taking down the Gwen, and they're going to take the top tower with it. So nice moves from Astral. Solar Storm gonna just drift on through. But But yeah, going to Evo X's win conditions is definitely within locking down a single target and chaining together CC. As we see right now, it's on to Rolly, but he's trying to escape with all he's got, but it's not going to be enough. Now Gia joining in the fight, putting himself in the front line. Very smart pick to get early pulse weave as well, because he knows he's going to be positioned into the enemy team comp, that it's going to have a lot of effects if he's able to. But meanwhile, Chile caught out in the bot lane, and this was so key about that team comp when put together with all this CC that they have.
Right, it's all about the picks right here. Like Evolx have a lot of damage onto a single target, so if they consistently catch out key members on the side of Astral Esports, then they could be able to snowball into the late game. But right here,
oh, Deity Stars Dragon Breath over the wall. Will it be enough? Prince dives in deep, but the Ghostwing still going to go over to the side of Evolx. They get a pick onto the Rhyme. Now trying to follow through onto Optic Laser, and he gets, they shut down the Reza as Optic Laser turns around with a big Solar Storm. Oh no, Icy Bang, why did you shoot Gia? You sent your teammates to the grave, as Gia just goes flying on through to pick up a double kill on the backline of the enemy team. Icy Bang really could have avoided that if he just didn't hit the Samfeng. And this is why Samfeng is so strong. It's kind of like Magnus, where their strengths are the enemy's kind of mistakes. Yeah, where you see Magnus rarely plays off bad positioning from the enemy team, or the enemy team grouping up together around maybe a low health target. Where for Samfeng, it's if you to attack him, well, you're just going to make him that much stronger. And you can see Gia not afraid to position himself in that backline as Garex jumps onto Deity Stars, but he's left out there alone. They're going to pick up the Arden, however, so this fight going in favor of Evolx as they try and chase down Gia. He gets before fight health, and it should be enough to get out there for now. Question is, can Prince do anything to turn this around? He's gone onto the backline where he finds the low health target of Nom Nom, takes him down. Next is going to be Garex to fall to Scarf, and Prince is not done yet as he dives in for the double kill, picking up the Celeste, who was left alone. So just good rotation and timing by Prince to be there and really kind of capitalize on that situation and turn it around for his team.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, it's not a bad draft. Like Evolx have a good draft, but it's just the damage potential and the CC coming up from Astral Esports that's going to be really hard for the side of Evolx to deal with. We saw in the mid lane, like Samfeng just going onto the back line right there, making sure that he's in the prime position to use his ultimate as well. That's going to be one of the issues that Evolx have to deal or solve with. Because if they do not shut that Samfeng down, he's just going to be snowballing out of hand. You can already see, going for the capacity to play, as time goes by with the Crucible as well, he's going to be a lot more tanky. And it's going to be harder to take down Jia as the game goes on. But oops, we could see an engagement in mid lane here.
Yeah, possibly Gia looking to position himself in the enemy backline or right up in their faces, more or less, as they find the safety of that tower for now. But there's that minion wave pushing in. Astral Esports making the decision to go for the Black Claw. They have some decent vision down. They're going to spot Nom Nom, who's making his way over there, uses the flare over the wall, so both teams, or at least Evolx, is aware of this. They might look to try and contest it, but will they be there in time? Nom Nom diving in, misses him. Pale and Rhyme just gets mounted down instantly, and so does Lance. The Dragon's Breath comes on through. He gets stunned out for a second, but Reza on the backline picks up the kill onto Celeste, chases down Icy Bang, who does not have a skedaddle to run away. The triple kill, the ace. And they're going to turn their attention back to the Black Claw. So once again, we see Astral just shutting down Evolx whenever they try and dive in. It doesn't, we have a different team compare before they have the Celeste and Gwen, but now it's in the hands of Evolx. However, Astral still doing the same thing. They have massive damage output coming through from not only Chile, Reza, and Scarf overall as a team, but just a really solid front line to help kind of deny any engagement from the side of the Evolx. But saying that, I think Evolx could have done better to commit to that dragon.
Yeah, definitely. They were looking, it was kind of like a desperation measure coming in from Evolx to really go for the Black Claw as well. But here we see them just hammering down to the mid tower, and there's absolutely nothing that Evolx can do. Jia uses his skill for good measure as well, and they're going to turn their attention down to Ghostwing. So there's just going to be a lot more trouble for the side of Evolx. I'm not exactly sure if they want to go for the contest right here. Ghostwing down to half health, Solar Stone coming out, will bring Dragon down to 4 HP, but it looks like they can't do anything much right here.
There's going to be the Valkyrie stunning out the front line of Astral Esports, so it could be Evolx winning this one out, but Gia with the double stun on the right in the enemy's front line is going to shut down the Grace, looking to shut down the Rhyme as Prince once again chasing down for another triple kill. And wow, just this team comp, we talked about the balance they had. They traded out 1 for 5 in that situation. They're probably going to get this mid tower, possibly get an armory out of it, depending on how quickly they take it. But looks like maybe just a mid and maybe a tier 2 top tower for themselves as well. And they got the Ghostwing buff. They managed to secure it, and they keep it on most of the members who were there. Obviously, Scarf died out, so he lost his. But I thought that fight really could have gone in favor of Evolx when the Valkyrie landed, and they were able to shut down the Scarf. But however, Astral just persevere through the whole thing. They have the healing, the damage provided by Adagio, and then just this fortified health on Samfeng, and then Vanguard on top of that from Arden. It's a really tough team comp to deal with.
Right, not only that, let's go for the root as well. They could be able to find something over here, but it's not too much of a loss as well. In the top lane, once again, Reza taking down Gwen. Look at how Common Prince is just so versatile. In the previous game, he was playing a really good lance, and this time round, he's going 14-1-4. So, really impressive gameplay.
Definitely. I don't want to say carrying. He's definitely racking up those kills, and we can say carrying the team. But overall, Astral Esports just doing a phenomenal job as a team together. But you've got to see the damage that this Reza is putting out, and almost surprising too that we don't see more Reza being picked up, but I think it works specifically well into the team comp that they're going up against, because the Gwen has no defense, the Celeste has no defense, and then for the others, they kind of get punished whenever they dive in. As we see Rhyme tries to go in, there's going to be the divine intervention to keep him alive, but just barely, and they push the enemy team back into their base. Evolx kind of on their last legs here, as we see Celeste joining in the fight to hold it. No dragons up at the moment, so not really too much the side of Astral can do except regroup themselves, continue taking away the jungle from Evolx. And it's interesting to finally see a team that plays against Evolx, who have to this point gone here from starving enemy teams, and Astral instead is like, well, we're going to take the initiative, and we're going to be able to not only in the first game kind of keep up and counter react, but this game actually overpower Evolx, as we see them diving on Sakane Sora, who got caught out by Prince, and now they find the lance. There's going to be the gauntlet to follow up. No escape for the side of Evolx, as the ultimate from Samfeng pulls in the Rhyme, the triple kill for Prince. Dragon's Breath going on through, and they make their way into the base. 5v2 situation now with 2 squishy carries. Easy pick for Prince, but he might have dived in too deep here. Solar Storm picks him up for return kill, but will it be enough? Do they have enough to break the attack coming through from Astral Esports? For Crystal, it's at quarter health. Can they do anything? They pick up the Adagio, but they're so very low. Deity Stars still left untouched. Icy Bang, Optic Laser, can they find their way in time? But no, there's going to be the Crystal taken down, and they managed to secure the game 17 minutes in over to Astral Esports, putting them 1 game away possibly from claiming the first place spot.
Yeah, one point I would like to point out is that why did I even say that? But Reza are getting picked out. It's just really good into their comp because it gives him so much space to dive onto that Celeste and the Gwen as well. So you mentioned in a way that Reza has a lot of burst. I do agree with that, and obviously it's just kind of like a no-brainer when you have such squishy heroes on the side of Evolx. There has to be on the back line. So if you notice most of the team fights, if Icy Bang is just getting taken out by Prince even before the team fight occurs. So Evolx are already 1 carry down at the start of the team fight. So all the damage output has to come from either Gatherax or Optic Laser, and only from the side of Astral Esports, they have so much burst on the front line that there's absolutely no way that any members of Evolx can really kind of stand the damage. Like we saw Gwen just casually face checking the Bruce right there, and in a couple of seconds you have a Reza that's already bringing her down to half health. So that is kind of the issue that Evolx have been facing. Like I see one comment in the chat right there, like how is Evolx squishy? They're not squishy. The backline is. That's kind of the thing I'm trying to point out. Like Celeste and Gwen. So if you have those two heroes getting taken out early in the team fight, you kind of lose all of the concentration of damage that you have in your team. And this is the reason why that in terms of draft, I think Astral Esports definitely have this one on lock.
Yeah, and the problem I think it's dealing with Reza, and it's one of the heroes that just particularly frustrates me. It's Reza's and Taka's. Taka, thankfully, not so much in the, not really in the meta at all right now, but Reza still, I'd say, is fairly in the meta, and it's very frustrating because these heroes are so hard to lock down with CC because of how mobile they are. Reza, not only does he have a dash in his kit, he has 2 dashes. And not only does he have that, he has iframes with his ultimate. So it's very hard to lock him down. A good Reza player is something to be fearful of, as we saw in that previous match. Prince, amazing job there in both game 1 and game 2, showing us what he's capable of. So looking forward to game 3. Question is, what will they do for the draft going into this? This invade comp or this hyper aggressive comp, isn't really working out for Evolx trying to go. We saw a few times where it did work out, where they made their way down to through the lanes and they were able to pick off single targets. But whenever it gets to a team fight stage, or their backline carries were left alone, or Reza was able to get onto them in that kind of sense, it really fell apart for them.
Yeah, pretty much. And we have Evolx over here on the blue side and Astral Esports finally going on the red side once again. So it's kind of like the mirror image that we have on the first game. We're going to see Magnus getting banned out once again. No surprises over there. Foster's going to be the ban out coming out from the side of Astral Esports in response to that. So pretty standard ban so far. Nothing out of the ordinary. Oops, it looks like they could be banning something out from Evolx right here. Oh,
Well,
a
there's
fin
something
ban.
out of
So,
the ordinary,
yeah.
Fin ban, which we talked about before, allows if A side go for a meta ban and off meta ban, or either just like it's no point in completely wasting it like banning Saw or something, but still going for a possible priority pick, but ban. And by banning out Finn also allows them to play Yates a lot stronger because there's no direct counter to the pool.
Right, pretty much. Banning on the feed means that something is gonna be open if it's not let through. So Astral Esports is gonna be forced into a tough position right here. They ban out the Samfang and they kind of give away the Yates over to the side of Evolx. But in response, they do manage to pick up a Lens and Adagio. So that's still pretty good. Two pretty good picks that we kind of see coming out from the side of Astral Esports so far. We're gonna have to wait a while more to see which kind of carries they will be picking up. I do suspect they might still go for the Finn. Not the Finn, but the Scarf. The Scarf is still going to be one of these heroes which I think would do really well against the Celeste, or at least in the earlier stages of the game. He has decent bursts as well. With Fan the Flames, he clears scripts pretty decently. So I'm kind of expecting a Scarf to get picked up from the side of Astro Esports.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the Lance pick to start things off in return, and I'm just wondering how they deal with this Yates, because Yates is quite a problem. Because with the way the draft goes, Evolx actually picking up a very strong pick for themselves by securing that Yates. That there isn't much counter to it when there's not Finn around. Unless you try shum down with, because you can't shum down with roots. You need some hard CC. So maybe if Astral secure a no, I was gonna say Celeste for themselves, but it looks like we're past that point. Adagio being picked up, and Celeste over on the side of Evolx. So overall, they've got a good draft going into this game, and that's the thing. Even previously, I didn't have a problem with Evolx's draft in the last game either. It was just that Astral had a really nice draft put together. They're doing a very similar team comp, except this time they're not going to be allowed to pick up the Celeste. Maybe they look towards the Scarf, because if Evolx really want to, they could take. No, surely they're not going to. They could take away the Scarf from the side of Astral, but I don't really like this Meline pick. I'm not such a fan of Meline personally. I understand that if Meline is your mid laner, she has the B where she can just sink into the ground and then avoid possible wolf moors. I don't know what the plural for that would be, but the pools coming out from Yates.
This is gonna be hard because, like you mentioned, Gates is just gonna be so hard to deal with on the side of Astral Esports, and not only that, they don't have the Fiend as well. I'm not sure if I'm gonna start to write in the chats right here, but I think Catherine would be pretty decent.
Kappa, I'm sorry, chat. We swap back before and then yep, there we go.
Yep, so then we're gonna have the draft completed on the side of Evolx. They have the Kinetic as well, which is gonna be pretty decent. She's gonna be pretty much doing the same thing that Gwen's doing on the opposite lane. Just gonna push down and farm in the early stages and then be the main source of damage in the later stages of the game. The rest are getting picked up by Evolx this time round, so I think it's more of to do with the Adagio. Adagio doesn't really have much mobility as well, so yeah, I'm not sure. Ooh, this draft is confusing. I'm not sure what to make of it, but
well,
yeah, let's just roll with it.
Top lane Adagio, bot lane Gwen, roam or support Lance, jungle Meline, and mid lane Vaya. Vaya isn't a bad pick at all. Good single target damage. But once Evolx managed to secure Vereza for themselves this time, and if GatorX is able to play as well as Prince did, I would be a bit worried for the squishy carries such as the Gwen and Vaya on the side of Astral Esports. For Meline, at least what Meline has available to them is if Reza jumps in their face, they might be able to get the Binding Light off, or, well, if it's cold, I know that I haven't learned Meline's abilities. It's kind of, that proves to me when the point where it must have been the end of 2017 esports, because that's probably around when Meline came out, and then I wasn't doing as much, like, official esports, that I stopped kind of learning completely all the abilities.
Yeah, so I was just replying to chat right there, but yeah, Marlene is kind of an iffy pick right here. We're gonna see how he performs in the earlier stages of the game. I'm kind of suspect that it's gonna be a Marlene mid or
no, it's jungle Meline because
yeah.
Vaya has to be mid.
Oh
surely.
yeah, yeah, the Vaya. So kind of missed out on that, but yeah. So a Marlene jungle right here. Call Me Prince is going to be one of the key figures that we're going to have to look at in this mid game because he was just sneakily playing that red side the previous game and just I don't want to say owning, but yeah, he's pretty much always was on the roll in the previous game. Oh, Chili right here getting caught out really early by Sakine Sora.
Oh my god. They've already used that potion, so they're just going to be at quite a disadvantage from now on, having to play passive under that tower. For now, we see that the side of Astral Esports this time being the aggressors. They're going into the enemy jungle, looking for the farm to steal away. Meanwhile, I don't think that Evolx did the same, so if they can make it out there alive, they should be able to secure their red side as well. Broly does get pulled in by the Wolf's Maw, but actually had early boots, and that's what's good, that Broly didn't go for Stormguard Banner, instead was able to buy boots and flare, which pretty much saved his life in that situation.
All calculated, boys. It's all calculated. Adagio in the bot lane right here up against Icy Bang. And you can see Rolly coming right. Oh, he could go for the engage, but for some reason, Jaja just going to be at the back line right here. I'm not sure if Jaja is connected to the game. Could have some connection issues right here, but pretty much Rolly going to stand guard in the bot lane while Jaja reconnects. Icy Bang here having the time of his life up against inactive Adagio.
Yep, I think otherwise, if Gia wasn't having connection issues, we might have seen
Oh,
Rolly go up to
oh, ooh, yeah.
oh,
That was
okay.
just oh
I
that
didn't even notice that in the mid, as
yeah
we see that they managed to catch out
yeah.
Vaya, who now was left at a disadvantage because Rolly had to be in the bot lane with Gia, but possibly Gia could be back now. Looks like they are, so a slight disadvantage to the side of Astral going into this game, but we'll see how they deal with it moving forwards.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, Nono TNT on the gates was just a mid lane. Managed to get the hook onto Vaya as well. And this is why they follow up with the Celeste stun. That was pretty much just a kill queue coming in from the side of Evolx. So, Komi Prince gets hooked out from the brush as well, from Nono TNT. He could just go
Ooh.
for one hook right
Oh,
here. Oh,
they managed to back to
yeah.
safety just in time. Um, but yeah, looking at these team comps once again and what might happen in a team fight situation. Oh my god, can we just like take a second to admire this Vaya skin though? I actually haven't played with it. I'm pretty sure I might own it, but I haven't actually played it yet. And it is
Yeah,
goddamn amazing that
yeah.
Golden Lightning. But yeah, back to the team comps was that it's really going to be on Rolly's shoulders as well as Prince's shoulders, which you mentioned earlier, to lock down any enemies that dive in. And Astro have done it before in the previous two games. They were able to lock down any target that, for example, could be the Grumpjaw or Reza diving in. Can they do it again is a question. They don't have the hard CC this time, so it might be a bit difficult.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, these stars in the mid lane isn't really getting much support. It's no surprise right there because we have Rolly in the jungle over here starting the rapid trip, but there's just so much lanes to cover. And once again, the AD stars in the mid lane getting ganked out by Nom TNT.
Oh,
Oh, the combo coming in, the hook from Nom TNT. And
just
Celeste
Nom
just
Nom
collect.
waiting for Vaya to dash away to use that Wolf's Maw. The patience on both of them to hold on to their CC to then chain it together, and the synergy there as they pick up the kill in the mid lane. So 2-0 for Evolx as we see Prince and Rolly trying to dive in onto Optic Laser. They catch out Garex as he's returning back to the mid. And now we see Deity Stars there as well. So Evolx probably just going to back out of this fight. Or
Yeah,
not,
pretty
or
much.
not.
Oh.
Ooh!
The mid
The
lane,
core collapse,
the
Wolf's
AD
Maw.
stars.
Rolly tries to do what he can with the Giphian Wall. I guess that's one of the forms of hard CC they have. Meanwhile, up in the top, we're going to see Prince taking down Grumpjaw. Sorry for my WESG cameraman right now, but um, Rolly doesn't really have it's hard to say. That's so limited to about him being in the right position at the right time to really stop the enemy from diving in. Astral Esports going to be able to take that top tower. Ace is high onto Nom Nom, and Prince chasing down Optic Laser manages to get the root off, but they're making the decision to back now. It's a smart decision as Sakane Sora joining in on the fight. And they also have some pressure down in this bot lane here as Gia and Rolly push on through. Icy Bang fairly low on HP right now. Are they going to be able to take it? They continue to poke down, and Adagio you just have to fear because of the range that character has, as well as the damage late game. But Rolly gets Impale into the Giphian Wall. Here's going to be Garex to try to turn things around. Neverform Denair is able to pick up the kill onto, oh my lord, onto the Adagio and the Lance, and just barely saving Icy Bang's life. So, well played
Yeah.
with the gank. Good timing there.
Lance could have gotten a kill right there, but like you said, good plays coming up from the Getawax as well to save the kinetic. But more importantly, this just buys so much time for the side of UFO X. They're already starting to snowball. But in terms of goal lead, pretty interestingly enough, they're pretty much neck and neck. So it could be the jungle invades coming out from the side of Astral Esports at the start of the game that was kind of balancing the goal lead on both sides.
Well, right now we see Evox being the ones to continue with their well-known invades. Chili manages to run out of there with the skedaddle and gets to safety of his tower just barely. Meanwhile, the push still going on in the bot lane. You could see Astral well focused. They're very well objective focused. First of all, taking that top tower, now focusing on this bot tower. Nice dodge from Prince there, dodging out the ultimate and putting down a lot of damage onto Icy Bang, forcing him out of lane. But once again, here comes K-Rex. This time they have the vision and they catch him out. The combos coming through. Prince just changing my mind on Maline completely, but I think it's more just my mind on Prince right now. Call me your Prince, sure, I will.
Yeah, that was just good dodge coming out as well to dodge the Yates ultimate. The only good thing about Yates right here is that he's going to be able. Oh, I have to hold it down right here. Optic Laser getting caught out by Call Me Prince, but uses the boot as well. So that's, I believe, 40 seconds. Yeah, 40 seconds of no boots. They can do something if they want to in the lane, but more importantly, Call Me Prince rotating to top, gonna provide Chili with some cover as well. So look at the farm.
Oh, ooh, Gia gets stunned out,
lane.
and
Oh.
there's going to be the turnaround. Versa Judgment stuns him out. There's going to be Impale as well, but Garex joining in the fight. Never formed DNA onto backline. Solar Storm to pick up the kill, and that's going to be more than enough as they end up backing out, regathering themselves as Prince and Chili make their way down. I think they spotted that out. Calls coming through, so now they need to find the safety of that tower. But look at this damage coming through. Core collapse onto Balance, who tried to go through with him. Pale Chili follows up and gets the kill onto the Reza. And now they might find TNT as well as Deity Stars going in deep with the Lightning, picks up the kill onto Yates. Sakane Sora just spitting out the Gwen under tower. Nice route on Sakane Sora to keep him at bay and allow the other two to escape. But a bit of a trade out there for both sides, both teams. And now Bang going to find Deity Stars, but will they pick up the kill? Tower doing a lot of damage to them as well. Oh my lord, Prince with the dodge from that ultimate coming out from Icy Bang, and they managed to keep it safe for now. But I think kills, it might have been 2 for 2 either way. Reza, Yates, and then Gwen, and I'm not sure, possibly Adagio died in that fight.
Yeah, Adagio got picked off the side of the game, so he wasn't really into team fight. He just got picked off right there. I think it was Gramjaw that picked up Jatia. So I'm not too sure about that as well. We'll have to watch the replay, but no TNT. Oh, that's
almost
the
took that crystal tree in instead, but no, pulls over Rolly. No, not really anything he can do about that, but look at this damage coming through from Optic Laser. I mean, a Celeste is still a Celeste that you have to worry about. And Prince running on through into the front line, could get caught up in that stun, he does, but no follow-up from the rest of the team. There's going to be the Wolfsmaw into Core Collapse. These two are just so well synergized at pulling that off. And they pick up, Kinect picks up Adagio in the bot lane meanwhile. So now 5-3, or in terms of men standing, Evolx have an opportunity to go for the Ghost Wing here.
Yeah, not only that, Cowboy Prince looks like he wants to go for the steal right here.
I would be very cautious of that Yates.
Oh, this is going to be bad as well.
Vaya goes in, gets the steal, but Maline going very low, probably going to get picked up here. Manages to escape for only a second. Gatorex goes low as well, but it's enough to pick up the kill and get out of there. However, Ghostwing buff now in favor of Astral Esports. It's in their hands. They catch out Nom Nom TMT with a Giffian wall into the wall, and it's always strange saying that because that's just how the ability works, and they're going to be able to push on through to this mid tower. So Astral Esports continuing to hold the gold lead even though they're behind in kills. We talked about before how objective focused this team is, seeing at 29.8 over to 27.8, so a small gold lead, but the fact that they're behind in kills and behind in a lot of these engagements, that they're still winning out in objectives, really says something for their team. We saw it in the first game, and I think it goes to say how good their overall understanding of the game and the win conditions are, and why they were the #1 seed coming into this tournament and still sitting #1 in terms of points. Oh.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, we could see engagement right here. Oh, yes, gets knocked into the wall as well. Nom TNT will fall. Reza trying to do something onto the Varia right here, but Varia definitely too mobile. Just going to dodge all those attacks coming out with Gatorex. He tries to make his way. Oh, one more. He just managed to dodge right there. Jaja does decent damage onto Icy Bang as well. Varia going to use the ultimate, tries to pick up the Reza, but he's home safe and sound.
Oh, Aces High not going to connect either. So Astral Esports probably just going to back out. Oh, Solar Storm comes through. It's not going to connect either. And Gwen making their way up to the top tower. Not going to be able to put any damage on it as they don't have the minions to do so. But Astral Esports playing very aggressive, and you can see they're very comfortable in doing so. And I think that makes Evolx kind of feel a bit uncomfortable, finally dealing with a team that plays so aggressive and controls the game so much that almost leaves them on the back for a lot of the time. Although we've seen Evolx, ooh, Deity Star's getting a lot of damage as he dives in there. Chili just going to run in deep, not really fearing the Yates. There's going to be the Impale onto him as they dive back, but as I said, Evolx, we've seen a lot of the time, Chile game pulled out, where they still make their decisions when they can to go for objectives very quickly. I like that confidence that they haven't lost, but obviously being two games down and on this game really matters to them. They might have nerves on against them.
Yeah, they pick up the gold orc as well.
A lot of damage from the Celeste.
There's just more goal going in the way of Astral Esports. Look at the goal lead. Despite being down by 5 kills, they still have that 4k goal lead going for them. It could potentially extend here as well. If they pick up one more team fight, they could go for the Black Claw.
Yep. I think Astral kind of ooh, whoa, Rolly gets pulled out, and Prince almost dived on there. But we talked about why this Malign pick can work because of the chain CC there if Rolly and Prince are able to work together. And now we see a contest for the Crystal Tree, and Gia gets pulled out, but he instead turns around with a big burst of judgment, stuns out 3 members of Evolx as the rest of Astral dive on in. They find Gatorex and force him out. Icy Bang is going to get caught out by Chili, and they try to chase him down. They manage to pick up the kill. Meanwhile, the rest of the team focusing that mid-tier 2 tower. Deity Stars get pulled over the wall. Rolly's just going to go over in to join him. Chili peeks around the corner to pick up that kill, and there's a lot of damage being traded out over this wall here as Astral now going to make the decision to back out after they lose Rolly. And Prince on the run should be able to escape. Yep, they get the route and they're going to find safety. So Astral coming out on top of that team fight. I think they got 2 for 1 and a tier 2 tower in their favor. So playing it kind of slow but controlled.
Yeah, if you put it that way, I just got the wrong image in my head, like slow and controlled. But Jaja gonna be the ball lane alongside DT Stars as well. I really like this Vara pick. Like initially, I was kind of doubting it, but now that I see it up against the Reza, the mobility that it offers against the ganking format coming out from Evolx is just coping with them so well.
Yep. Oh, we might see another engagement here as Nom Nom pulls in the Adagio, but you have to be careful about that. We saw what happened last time. Look at the damage being traded back out as Nom Nom now forced out of the fight, having to recall back to base, but they're not done yet as they push on through, pick up the kill onto Grumpjaw. Garex is split from the rest of his team. Nom Nom joins back in with the ultimate, but it's a bit too late as now already 2 members on their team have fallen, and there's going to be the route onto the Celeste. Confirmed kill, the double kill, the shutdown. And you can see Rolly just making sure Nom Nom is gone. He is out of here, but he might have gone a step too far as Garex now joining in as well. The Giffian Wall catches him out. They pick up the kill onto Nom Nom, and they should be able to find Garex as well. The ace coming through just as Grumpjaw spawns, but now they have the minions in the mid lane. They're going to push on through and take this base tower. And they should be able to back out and possibly even go for a dragon. There's still 17 seconds until Garex is back up and 10 seconds until Nom Nom TNT is up. They're even going to take away the Crystal Treant from them. Astral Esports in complete control on their way to what could be victory here if Evolx aren't able to do something about it. Solar Storm a bit too early. Not going to be able to get the steal, but nice try.
Yeah, it's too early to call GG, but with the Black Claw in the mid lane, and they're definitely going to split push on the top as well. We could potentially
Bang gets caught out by the Malign, and there's the follow through from Deity Stars, but stun as they turn around. Kinetic able to land that there. And Grumpjaw up in the top lane in this situation. Not sure if that's where you want to be. Better to regroup with your team, especially when it's only the armory between your base And the end of the game, Prince gets pulled out, but he's able to dodge that one. And Deity Star's going fairly low, but they pick up the kill onto Reza instantly. Grumpjaw follows through. Astral Esports once again shutting down any form of engage coming through from Evolx. They manage to pick up the kinetic as well. And Gia staying alive even though he gets pulled into the base. The damage coming down from the Celeste, it's not going to be enough as the Black Claw continues to push onto the Vein Crystal. And Astral Esports are going to take the #1 spot in game number 3, 3-0 against Evolx. Congratulations, they will be your champions.
That's gonna hurt when it really pours, and that's the case for Evolx as well. You mentioned that they were undefeated going into the finals, and just getting 3-0 like that, it's gonna hurt quite a bit.
Yeah, it's just coming up against a team that finally was able to. We saw it in every game that whenever Evolx tried to dive in, Astral just dismantled it. There were moments where Evolx was successful when maybe they were able to pick off a person alone, but when it came to these team fight situations, these comps that they put together, I remember you saying just before that you weren't too sure on the Vaya pick, and that was my thoughts earlier today before I saw the third place matchup, before I saw how strong Vaya really can be, because a lot of the time the spotlight is on majors with heavy CC, such as Celeste and even Magnus. But when you look at what Vaya is able to do, which is the single target focusing damage, it works so well when you're able to single target focus whoever dives in and gets caught out. And why Malene also worked really well into this team comp, because so often they were able to easily land the root off because the enemy was right in their face. And even chasing down the enemy, there's a lot of key moments where they're able to do that. And then the mobility on Vaya and Gwen, they're both able to chase on through. And you can't forget Adagio, who's just fairly comfortable being up in the front line of this enemy team.
Yeah, pretty much. The team comp coming out for the side of Astral Esports is just, I want to say, really up close and personal. They have Jaja on the Adagio, which was making most of the plays happen. Like, he's kind of like a low-key figure in team fights until he lands that verse of judgment. And we saw a couple of that big Adagio ultis that really changed the tide of the game. More importantly, down, I believe it was in the 12th minute, Astro Esports were kind of on the back foot as well. A lot of their members were low in HP, and then Jaja came in with that verse of judgment, stun up all 5 members on side of Team Evolx, and suddenly they just bought so much space for Chili and Deity Stars on the Varia and the Gwen as well to kind of do the damage from the backline. And that's what we really want to see as a Dajo player. You want to buy enough space for the rest of your teams to do damage, and at the same time, it's just really hard to counter Verse of Judgment, because if you look over to the side of Evolx, they have the Grumpjaw, they have the Yates, and they have the Reza as well, which kind of needs to be in the face of the opponent, and that means that there's not much of a gap between them and the Dajo, and if you don't really block out that Verse of Judgment, then it's gonna hurt a lot.
Yeah, and I was thinking back into this with the Yates pick when I was thinking what can really counter their team. I think that Astral really had the answer to that. Pulling in the Adagio, often if you weren't able to stun him out, if he's able to use his block in time to avoid a lot of that CC, it could also be the fact that maybe Evolx didn't have enough follow-up CC. Say maybe if you had a Yates and a Finn, then you're able to pull them in, and not only do they have to dodge out the overpower from the Yates, but they also have to dodge out the Quibble from the Finn. Could be something big, or just having another. I guess they have the Celeste, so you should have said that. Okay, if they're able to chain that up, it's good enough. But still, Adagio managed to get through in a lot of those team fights where he got pulled in, but he wasn't really too worried about it because he had just been Verse of Judgment and disperse the enemy team. But we also saw situations where if Malene got pulled in, like in the last team fight there, she was just able to dodge out. And congrats. I'd say Prince is probably my MVP for that series of matches. Just how he played every hero so well. And then in that last game, his Malene Shadow Side B was on point a lot of the time to dodge out a lot of key abilities coming through.
Yeah, pretty much. That was the pocket pick. I keep saying pretty much, but that Malene pick, like we were kind of doubting it as well. we were kind of doubting whether or not Marlene was a good pick because she's not exactly the tankiest of heroes. The jungle wise, she kind of lacks damage early game against the Reza, but we saw how Prince played one hell of a Marlene, and she was just moving from lane to lane, getting those pocket kills as well. So yeah, that was what really made the team come work. Evox, despite having a lot of burst damage and pickoffs in the early start of the game, we saw Astral Esports just remain cool, calm, and composed. Just go for, just roll with what they're comfortable with. They managed to get a couple of invades in as well, and I think that just put Team Evolx on the back foot. Like they're not used to having their own jungles getting invaded. They're usually, really comfortable with staying in lead. And the moment Astral Esports kind of showed them, what, we can do the same thing to you as well. That was where Team Evolx started to fall off quite a bit, and Astro Esports just snowballed so hard from the big game onwards.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to Astral Esports for being first place winners, taking home 18,000 ICE. Congratulations and GG well played to Evolx. They get second place, getting 14,000. And to our earlier match where we had KDA versus Fearless, KDA took home third place, getting 10,000. And just a few things I'd like to say. A big thank you to Heedy and Pine Nation, and obviously Gatorex, and kind of a very nice end to it, a good showdown to have Gatorex's team go up against Heedy's team in a sense, even though Heedy was sadly not able to play at the moment. But thanks to them for organizing this. Thanks for giving me the chance to commentate this, and thank you to Eris as well as Slice, who was with us earlier today, for commenting alongside me for this. And I see that Heedy is in the voice chat. Not sure if they want to say any last words, but if they do, they're free to do so. Eris, is there anything you want to say to the viewers?
Not much. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's tuning on the stream. I hope Vainglory still is the preferred games of all the viewers, but if not, do continue to support the community, and yeah, hope to see a lot more competitions like this.
Yep. And so thank you to all the viewers who tuned in as well. You guys also make it worthwhile. And thanks to all the teams going even through the qualifying matches up until now. It's been a fun experience, and hope we get to see more VG esports in the future. Maybe some higher budget, less WESG, single man,
Oh,
zero budget
yeah.
productions. But either way, I do it because I love it, and I love the community, and I love esports, and hopefully, it's something that we can, I would say, revive, honestly, in the state that it is now, or at least continue. But we'll have to see where the future takes us. But that's going to be us for now. And till next time, do take care and hope to see you then. So that's us signing out.